I noticed it the moment I stepped into the hallway. For suitcases stood in a neat row by the door. Blue, black, red, gray. Each one had a white tag tied to the handle. Linda, Richard, Ethan, Sophie. I scanned them again, slower this time. My name wasn't there. I frowned and said, "Did one of the tags fall off?" Richard laughed from the kitchen. "Relax. You always overthink things." I forced a smile. "So where's mine?" Mom kept folding scarves on the couch. She didn't look up. "Sweetheart, can you grab the charger from my room?" "That doesn't answer my question," I said. Ethan walked past me in his new jacket. "Dad booked us ski lessons. Real slopes, not the fake ones." I nodded like I cared. "Sounds fun." Sophie brushed by me and whispered, "I'm sorry." I turned to her. "For what?" She bit her lip and said nothing. My chest tightened. "Mom, am I coming or not?" She froze, scarf halfway folded. "Well," Richard thought. "I thought it'd be good for you to stay home," Richard cut in. "You're 22. Independence builds character." I laughed once. It came out wrong. "Independence? You mean alone?" "It's only a week," he said. "Food's in the fridge. Heat's on." I looked at Mom. "You're okay with this?" She finally met my eyes. They were tired. "It's not personal." I nodded again. "Right. Nothing ever is." Ethan smirked. "Don't forget to lock the door." I stepped back as they moved around me, grabbing coats, joking about traffic. Richard handed Mom her passport. She smiled at him. I stood there like furniture. At the door, I said, "Mom." She paused. "Yes. Have fun." Her face fell for a second. "We will." The door closed behind them. I watched through the window as the car pulled away, tires crunching snow. The silence hit fast. Loud. I locked the door and leaned against it. "You're fine," I told myself. "You wanted space." My phone buzzed. A group message. Ethan posted a photo from the driveway. "Family trip starts now." I typed, "Have a safe drive," then deleted it. I walked back to the hallway and stared at the suitcases again. 4 names. For lives moving forward without me. I peeled the blank tag off the gray one and turned it over in my hand. "I didn't even get a conversation," I said to the wall. The heater clicked on. The house smelled like cold air and packing tape. I opened the fridge. Milk. Eggs. Half a pizza. "This is fine," I whispered. I went to my room and sat on the bed. My phone stayed quiet. No calls. No texts. I imagined them laughing, stopping for coffee, not once saying my name. I lay back and stared at the ceiling. "I must have missed the moment I stopped belonging," I said. Outside, snow kept falling, soft and endless. Inside, something cracked open in my chest. I wasn't angry yet. I wasn't even sad. I just felt erased. I picked up my phone and typed one last message to Mom. "I hope you're happy." No reply came. That was when I understood the truth I'd been avoiding all along. I wasn't part of this family. I was just the house they left behind. The house sounded different without them. Every tick of the clock felt louder. I stood in the kitchen and said, "Okay," just to hear a voice. No one answered. I opened my phone. No calls. No messages. I checked again like the screen might change out of pity. It didn't. On day 1, I told myself, "They're busy traveling." On day 2, I said, "Time zones are weird." By day 3, I stopped lying. I turned the heater down and muttered, "Save money." The truth was I didn't want to feel warm in a house that didn't want me. I ate 1 meal a day. Half a sandwich. Soup stretched thin with water. I laughed quietly and said, "Survival mode, huh?" The echo made it sound like someone agreed. I slept in my jacket and told myself it was temporary. Everything felt temporary when you had no place to belong. At night, I talked to the ceiling. "Dad, did you ever feel like this?" I pictured him at the old kitchen table, coffee mug in hand. "You wouldn't have left me," I said. My throat tightened. "You would have fought." On the 4th day, there was a knock. I jumped like I'd been caught doing something wrong. Mrs. Carter stood there holding a pot. "Oh dear," she said, smiling too hard. I made too much soup again. I hesitated. "You don't have to." She waved it off. "Nonsense. It'll go bad." I took it. "Thank you." She looked past me into the dark house. "Family away?" "Yeah," I said. She nodded slowly. "Well, you knock if you need anything." "I'm fine," I said too fast. She squeezed my arm. "Of course you are." I closed the door and stared at the soup. My hands shook. Why does this hurt more than being ignored? I whispered. That night, I scrolled through social media. First photo, Mom smiling by a fireplace. Second, Richard holding hot chocolate, tagged vacation vibes. Third, Ethan in ski gear, captioned perfect family. I stared until my eyes burned. I typed looks fun. I erased it. I typed nothing. By day 5, I stopped checking my phone every hour. I said, they know where I am. The silence stopped surprising me. It settled in, heavy and steady. On day 6, I caught my reflection in the mirror. You look invisible, I said. I practiced smiling. It looked fake. I practiced not caring. That felt real. I opened the fridge and said, last egg. I cooked it slowly, like a ritual. I ate standing up. I didn't bother setting a plate. That night, I sat on the couch and said, this wasn't a mistake. Saying it out loud made it solid. They chose this. The words didn't break me. They freed me. I stopped waiting. I stopped hoping. I stopped imagining apologies that weren't coming. On the 7th day, the house was still quiet, but I wasn't listening for footsteps anymore. I looked at my phone one last time. Still nothing. I set it face down and said, I get it now. That was the moment something inside me went calm. Cold, but calm. I wasn't forgotten. I was excluded. And once I understood that, the silence finally made sense. I stared at my phone for a long time before calling. My thumb hovered, then pressed. It rang once. Twice. On the 3rd ring, Mom answered. Hi, sweetheart, she said, her voice light, almost cheerful. I could hear music behind her. People laughing. Are you busy? I asked. Just relaxing, she said. What's wrong? I swallowed. Why did you leave me? There was a pause, short but sharp. That's not fair, she said. I'm not trying to be fair, I replied. I'm trying to understand. She sighed. Richard thought you needed independence. He said it would be good for you. I laughed. It came out rough. Independence doesn't mean abandonment. Don't use that word, she said quickly. Why not? I asked. Because it sounds ugly? Richard's voice cut in. Give me the phone. I heard movement. Then he said, listen, you're too old to act like a victim. I didn't ask you, I said. You live under my roof, he replied. I don't owe you a vacation. I didn't ask for a vacation, I said. I asked why my own mother didn't stand up for me. Ethan shouted something in the background. Tell him to grow up. I gripped the phone. Did you hear that? I asked Mom. She didn't answer. Sophie. I said loudly. Are you there? I heard her breathing, then nothing. That's what I thought, I said. Richard laughed. See? Even they know you're being dramatic. My hands started shaking. You didn't even ask me, I said. You decided I didn't matter. That's enough, Richard snapped. We're trying to enjoy ourselves. I felt something snap inside me. Then enjoy it, I said. I won't bother you again. I hung up before anyone could reply. The silence hit hard. I dropped the phone on the couch and paced the room. You finally said it, I told myself. You finally asked. I went to the closet and pulled down the old box I kept hidden behind coats. I sat on the floor and opened it. Inside were photos, a watch, and letters from my dad. I picked one up unopened, my name written in his handwriting. I whispered, You knew, didn't you? I opened it slowly and read. If you ever feel alone, remember this. Don't wait for someone to choose you. Choose yourself. Stand up, even when your voice shakes. My chest burned. I waited too long, I said. I folded the letter and pressed it to my chest. I'm done begging, I whispered. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. We'll talk when we get back. I stared at it and said, No, we won't. I typed, I asked for answers. I got them. I didn't send it. I deleted it. I stood up and looked around the room. This ends now, I said. I packed the letter back into the box and closed it gently. I won't disappear again, I told myself. That night, I lay in bed fully awake. My heart felt heavy but clear. I replayed the call once, then let it go. I won't beg anymore, I said into the dark. For the first time since they left, I wasn't waiting for a call. I wasn't hoping for an apology. I was making a promise to myself. I would build a life where no one could erase me. There was a knock on the door that didn't sound impatient. I opened it and saw Uncle Mark standing there with his hands in his jacket pockets. He looked at me for a second and said, You look thinner. I shrugged. Winter does that. He nodded and stepped inside. Mrs. Carter called me. I waited for questions. They didn't come. He sat at the table and said, Sit. I did. He folded his hands. Tell me what happened. I spoke slowly at first. They went on vacation. And left you, he said. Yes. He didn't defend them. He didn't explain. He just listened. When I finished, he said, that wasn't right. My throat tightened. Thank you. He leaned back. I've got work at the shop. It's nothing fancy, but it's honest. You can stay with me if you want. I blinked. You're serious? I don't joke about family, he said. Your dad wouldn't want you alone. I looked down. I don't want to be a burden. He shook his head. You're not asking for charity. You're asking for a chance. I nodded. I'll take it. He smiled once. Good. We heard the front door open that evening. Mom's voice filled the house. I'm home. She froze when she saw the bags by the stairs. What's going on? I'm leaving, I said. Her eyes widened. Leaving where? Somewhere I'm wanted, I replied. Richard stepped in behind her. He looked at Uncle Mark and said, What's this about? Mark stood. I'm taking him with me. Mom whispered. You didn't tell me it was this bad. I met her eyes. You didn't ask. She stepped closer. We can talk. I did talk, I said. You listened to him. Richard crossed his arms. This is unnecessary. Then stop me, I said. He didn't move. That silence hurt more than the vacation. It also told me everything. Mom's voice shook. Please don't go like this. I'm not angry, I said. I'm done. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. I love you, I said. But I won't shrink anymore. Uncle Mark picked up my bags. Ready? I nodded. At the door, Mom said, Call me. Maybe, I said. Richard looked away. The cold air hit my face as I stepped outside. The house behind me felt smaller already. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just breathed. In the car, Mark said, You okay? I will be, I replied. He nodded. That's enough. As we drove off, I watched the lights fade in the mirror. For the first time in years, I felt steady. I wasn't running. I was choosing. Months passed, and I stayed busy on purpose. Uncle Mark would say, You're getting faster, and I'd reply, I'm getting steadier. Work filled my days. Silence filled my nights. I didn't check social media much anymore, but news has a way of finding you. One evening, Mark said, You hear about Richard? I kept my eyes on the floor. No. He got let go, Mark said. Internal complaint. Office stuff. I nodded once. Okay. Mark watched me. That's it. What do you want me to say? I asked. He shrugged. Nothing. A week later, Sophie messaged me. Just one line. Ethan got suspended. I stared at it. What for? I typed. She replied, fighting. Again. I didn't ask more. I didn't need details. The next thing I noticed was her profile. No smiles. No family photos. Just blank posts. The perfect picture was fading, piece by piece. One night, my phone rang after midnight. I almost ignored it. Mark looked over from the couch. You gonna answer? I sighed. It's Mom. I stepped outside and answered. Hello. She was crying. I don't know what happened, she said. Everything fell apart. I leaned against the railing. What do you mean? Richard's home all day, she said. He's angry. Ethan's in trouble. Sophie barely talks. I stayed quiet. She whispered, When did we go wrong? I closed my eyes. Do you really want to know? Yes, she said. I took a breath. The moment you left me behind. She sniffed. That was just one thing. No, I said calmly. That was the moment. She went silent. You didn't just leave me in a house, I continued. You showed me where I stood. I never meant to hurt you, she said. I know, I replied. That's the problem. She cried harder. I was trying to keep peace. And I paid for it, I said. She whispered my name like it might fix something. I'm not angry, I said. I'm different now. What does that mean? She asked. It means I stopped waiting to be chosen, I said. I chose myself. She breathed unevenly. Are you my son anymore? I swallowed. I am. But I'm also my own man. The line stayed quiet. For once, she didn't argue. I see you now, she said softly. I looked up at the dark sky. I needed that a long time ago. I'm sorry, she said. I believe you, I replied. Another pause. Then she said, Can we fix this? I don't know, I answered honestly. She didn't push. Okay, she said. We hung up without promises. I stood there for a minute, phone still in my hand. I didn't feel victory. I felt balance. Inside, Mark asked, You good? I nodded. Yeah. He smiled. You look lighter. I am, I said. That night, I lay in bed thinking about how quiet power feels. No shouting, no revenge, just truth, finally spoken. For years, I begged to be heard. That night, she listened. And for the first time, I wasn't the one breaking. I heard the knock while I was cleaning tools in the garage. I wiped my hands and opened the door. Richard stood there, shoulders slumped, eyes dull. He said, "Can we talk?" I crossed my arms. "You're here without an invitation." "I know," he said. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I laughed once. "You didn't mean to notice me either." He looked down. "Things got out of control." "Funny," I said. "My pain only mattered after yours started." He swallowed. "I lost my job." "I heard," I replied. "Now answer me. Why was I invisible until your life fell apart?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. No words came. "That silence," I said, "sounds familiar." He sighed. "I don't have an excuse." "I know," I said. He nodded slowly. "I thought I was doing what was best." "For who?" I asked. He didn't respond. After a moment, he said, "I'm sorry." I stepped back. "Sorry doesn't rebuild years." "I understand," he whispered. "No," I replied. "You finally feel it." He left without arguing. The door closed softly behind him. I didn't feel triumph. I felt done. Later that night, I opened Mom's letter. Page after page, she wrote my name, my childhood, her regrets. She said she failed me. She said she was afraid. She asked for forgiveness. I folded the pages and said aloud, "I forgive you." The words felt real. They didn't pull me backward. Forgiveness didn't mean returning. It meant releasing the weight. The next day, Emily messaged me. "Are you still working at the shop?" I smiled. "Yeah," I typed. She replied, "Coffee sometime?" I said yes before I could overthink it. Sitting across from her days later, she said, "You look stronger." "I feel clearer," I said. She laughed. "That suits you." Walking home, I realized something important. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies to save me. Their guilt was already doing the work. That night, I slept without anger. For the first time, peace felt earned, not borrowed. I sat on the bed and said, "This is what growth feels like." I remembered who I was before I learned to shrink. I told myself, "You survived being left." My phone stayed quiet. I didn't check it. I didn't need proof anymore. At work, Mark noticed the change. "You walk different," he said. "I stand straighter," I replied. He smiled. "Your dad would be proud." I nodded. "I know." That evening, I reread Mom's letter. I didn't feel pulled back. I felt steady. I placed it in a drawer and closed it. "I forgive you," I repeated. This time, it sounded final. Emily sent another message. "Good seeing you." I smiled again. I realized something else. I didn't need to explain myself anymore. The story was mine. Richard had come for forgiveness. Mom had come for peace. I didn't owe either of them a return. I sat quietly and listened to the night. It felt full, not empty. I whispered, "I chose myself." No one could take that away. I turned off the light. My life felt quiet, strong, and mine. Sleep came easily that night. I didn't dream of suitcases or closed doors. I dreamed of space. In the morning, I woke calm. I made coffee and said, "This is enough." I didn't rush. I didn't look back. The apology had come too late, but I had arrived right on time. I stood up and stretched. My chest felt open. I wasn't angry. I wasn't empty. I was ready. Outside, the day waited. I grabbed my jacket and smiled. "Let's go," I said. I closed the door behind me. This time, I knew exactly why. I walked forward without hesitation. My past stayed behind. My future felt earned. I didn't need to be chosen anymore. I had chosen myself. The weight was gone. So was the fear. I breathed in and stepped into the day. Nothing chased me now. Nothing held me back. I carried only what mattered. That was enough. I smiled once more. The past was finished. My story was just beginning. I walked on, stronger than before. Finally, I was free. And it felt real. At last. Winter came back quietly. I noticed it when my breath turned white again. This time, I wasn't alone. Uncle Mark tossed me the keys and said, "You drive." I smiled and replied, "You trust me now?" He laughed. "I always did." We stopped at the cemetery just after noon. The ground was hard, the sky pale. I stood in front of my dad's grave and said, "I'm doing okay." My voice didn't shake. "You'd like Mark," I added. "He chose me when it mattered." I knelt and brushed snow from the stone. You taught me self-respect, I said. I just took a while to learn it. Mark stayed back. He didn't rush me. That meant everything. I whispered, "Thank you for not letting me disappear." On the walk back, he asked, "You good?" "I am," I said. "For real." That night, I made dinner and said, "Smells decent." Mark replied, "That's progress." We ate, talked about nothing important, and watched the snow fall. The house felt warm. Not just heated. Lived in. My phone buzzed once. A message from Mom. "I see you now." I stared at the screen. My chest tightened, but it didn't hurt. I whispered, "I always deserved that." I typed nothing back. Some truths don't need replies. Emily called later. "You busy?" she asked. "No," I said. "Good," she replied. "I just wanted to hear your voice." "That's new," I said. She laughed. "You're different." "I know," I replied. "I finally feel solid." "That's attractive," she said. I smiled and said, "Careful." After we hung up, I stood by the window. Snow covered the street, clean and bright. I remembered the night they left me behind. The silence. The cold. That didn't break me, I said out loud. It showed me who I was. Mark looked over. "You say something?" "Just closing a chapter," I answered. He nodded. Good timing. The next morning, I visited the grave again alone. "I'm not angry anymore," I told my dad. "I'm grateful." The word surprised me, but it fit. I stood and said, "I won't chase people who don't choose me." The wind moved through the trees like a quiet agreement. When I got home, Mark asked, "Breakfast?" "Yeah," I said. "Let's eat." Life felt simple in a way it never had before. No waiting. No proving. Just forward motion. Later, I walked outside and took a deep breath. "I matter," I said. Hearing it felt right. I didn't look back at the house I left. Not because it meant nothing. Because I didn't need it anymore. I stepped into the day without hesitation. Winter didn't scare me now. I had warmth I built myself. I was never invisible, I said. And I kept walking.